Alright gang, right, before we get started, I've started a new series, a City Skylines series over on my other channel. There's a link in the top line of the description to that. It's basically a city builder. It's going to be a bit podcasty, where I just sort of talk through what I'm doing. I'm rebuilding New York City, for those that are interested. And yeah, get involved, link in the description. And yeah, come on over and enjoy it. Lots of people seem to be liking it so far, so if it's the sort of thing that might interest you, and it's more content from me, the top line of the description. Hello then gang, welcome back to another episode of Hero to Villain with me, GFM. We're 7th, we're terrible, it's not gone well, I'll show you what I'm on about. See, here it looks quite good, we've beaten Sunderland, drawn with Leeds, oh yeah, no. We're a joke, viewers, is the summary I would use. Last episode, of course, was the 3-2 win over Brighton, the 3-3 against Tottenham, and that wasn't too bad. We followed that up, 0-0 against Sion, and I was worried at that point, I thought, that's not ideal. 0-0 against them, 0-0 against Newcastle, again, not good. 4-1 defeat to Leicester, really not good. Didn't even score in that one. An own goal was the only goal we ended up getting. Crystal Palace then beat us 4-1. Back-to-back 4-1 defeats, never good. And then a 0-0 against Leeds. You might remember last episode I said we've got quite a nice run of games coming up, the Newcastle, Leicester, Palace, Leeds run. And I thought that would see us rise up. And when you consider we got 2 points from those 4 games, where we could have got 12 points, if we added those 12 points on, we'd be on 46, well in the top 4 right now, and cruising. But instead, we're on 34 points, 6 points off 4th, and it's been a bit of a mare, to be honest. Really, really poor from us. We're just going to play the one game today. We've got some January transfer action. You've seen the title of the video. It's going to be happening today. We're going to be saying farewell to the Rod, and he probably won't be the only one that's been a bit of a mainstay in this side. But of course, if the Rod's leaving, that must mean someone's coming in, right? And we'll see who that is in just a moment. Let's continue then. Manchester City on the 7th, but we've got this 7-day period at the start of January where I'm thinking some transfer stuff might happen. If no transfer stuff happens, we'll just do 2 matches. But as of right now, 1 game, Manchester City. They're top of the table. It'll be tough, but fun at the same time. Also in the FA Cup round, of course, we beat Sunderland in that. We were now in round 4. We'll play Millwall or Fulham, which is quite a kind draw for us. Never do well in the Carabao, but if the FA Cup, we can have a little bit of a run, especially with the season we're having. It will add to the more games that we've got along with the Europa League. But we've done the draw for that as well. I should probably have mentioned it. I totally forgot, and it'll be next episode as well, so it is important. Bilbao is the team we're facing. That should be quite fun. A team in Spain. We go we'll start at home against them and then have the away trip in Spain. That's going to be a tough one, but I think it's Bilbao, exciting. I quite like the idea of that. No offers for lemons though. Yes, I'm going to try, when life gives you lemons, you try and sell him. I just think he's got to the point now where we're not going to use him, and he's sat on the wage bill. He's got a little bit of time left on his contract. It's only 6 months. If anyone comes in and bids for him, we'll let him go. Equally, I'll let him go out on loan if someone paid it. I just think he's taking up a squad space right now, and we're not using him. And now Nestor Rodriguez is out for 4 to 5 weeks, which is just fantastic news, viewers. Should say, we've got 67 million in the transfer budget, so we've got some room to manoeuvre, and we will be manoeuvring, it's fair to say. Well, this is annoying. Arsenal have made a bid for this Szczesny fella. You might remember in the summer, we looked at him in terms of centre-back options. I would love to bring him in. I just think, transfer-wise, it's going to be challenging. 38 million they'll accept. The contract will be the issue, though. And also, I have offered Mendy out as well. So Mendy, the Rod, and Lemons could all be leaving in this window. Whether we get a bid for Mendy or not, I don't know. Of course, Servi has come back as well. If we recall him from his loan, he got a work permit. He doesn't want to talk. We're not in the Champions League. It's fair enough. We've got too many centre-back options, though. That's part of the issue we've got this season so far. I've been rotating too much, and that's partially, as I say, because we're overwhelmed with options. If I have less options, I can be focused on playing a centre-back pairing that I think can improve and develop, as well as be quite good for now. And while Mendy is a good defender, he's not going to improve anymore. He's 28. We've got Robson. We've got Barons. We've got, of course, someone else. Obermeyer, of course. So we've got players here and ready and raring to go. Ramon's on loan, of course, as well. Servi could come back into the side. So there's loads of options. We don't necessarily need to continue to have Mendy at the club. He's on a big wage. He's got some value still left in him at 28. We bought, remember, 15 million in the Championship, bro. He's fantastic. But you can see this year, I'm barely using him. I'll be honest, I thought some transfer stuff would have happened by now. There's 3 days in. I thought we would have had a few conclusions. Okay, then the first one, we've got some interesting stuff going on here, actually. The first bit of business is Dominic Mannix, who, Englishman, can play as a striker. I know what you're thinking straight away. You don't really need another striker, Ben. He can play out on the left as well. It's because he's English. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's the main reason. And with Lemons leaving and the Rod going, we're losing some attacking talent. And I think Dominic Mannix here looks really good. I'd love to buy him. I just don't think City are ever going to give him up for a sale. The more I think about it, the more I think we don't need him. But with that injury to Nestor Rodriguez, I'm now more inclined to think we maybe do. And honestly, Rodriguez, it's a weird thing to say about the player who's probably your top scorer in the league so far this year, but he's just so underway. He misses so many chances. Obviously, you don't normally see them. You'll see them in the odd video, and his recent form as well, not being scintillating in the last 5 games. He puts in like 6.6 performances all the time. It's not ideal because he's got this injury. I probably can't sell him, but I think to bring in this guy, there's not really a lot of risk here with Dominic Mannix. He's under 21. I don't have to register him. He can just be at the club, be a position or a player to come on in positions of need sometimes and give us a different option. We've got players similar to him. Of course, we've got Nissen and we've got names all over. My God, I can't remember people today, viewers. Who am I thinking of? Menace, of course. He's on the right side of midfield. That's why I'm getting confused. So we've got players who can play in those roles. I think having another option, though, especially up front, is always nice to have, especially if you're losing Lemons. So Mannix is coming in. Derby have offered a loan option for Raymond Lemons. If they want to pay his wages. I don't think they're going to want to pay his wages. No, they're not. I mean, we can offer him out for a little bit less money. I put it at 4 million. If we drop it down to 2, we might have a few people bite on that. He's been a great player for us. Had that one season where he was phenomenal as Ren come in with a bid for the Rod. We've already got an offer, a transfer offer on him, so there's no need to loan him out necessarily. Stoke with 3.1 million. Doesn't seem like a lot, but I just think he's one of those players that is at his maximum already at 23, and I'm just not going to use him going forward. I love him, don't get me wrong. I've given him a nickname for heaven's sake, but we don't necessarily need him anymore. Of course, if he's leaving us, there is still a right midfielder that I'm hoping to introduce you to, but so far nothing's moving. It's 100 grand a week as well, viewers. I'm teasing you with it, but it's not happened yet. Single man, reveal yourself. I don't know if he's in a relationship or not, so that's probably foolish. Here we go. All right, no offers for Lemons, which is obviously not ideal. We'll work on that. In fact, no, there are offers for Lemons. Oh, Charlton. Here we go. Go to Charlton, Raymond. You'll love Charlton. It'll be a lovely time for you. And Joshua Onoma, another English player, is going to leave the club. Again, another player. He's capped at his potential. Be really, really good for me. That first year we came in, do not forget that championship season he had was absolutely phenomenal. Another player that's not really featuring, and I want to free up some spots. The fact he's English is a bit annoying, or he's at least got citizenship. So it's with a heavy heart. Joshua Onoma leaves us to go off to... It's Greece, isn't it? Yeah, it is Greece. I knew it was Greece all along, viewers. All right, but this then, this guy, Guimel, I think you'd say it. Oh, dear me. Jose Maria Guimel is the player to come in. Transfer listed by Paris Saint-Germain, and this is why I think he's probably the right addition to bring in when you compare him to someone like the Rod, for example. When you compare the two, the green line is Guimel. You can see it's just slightly better in every area, and in my opinion, we're getting him for an absolute bargain. Moved for 45.5 million from Levante. Goal-scoring player. Had a really good year out on loan at Roma last year. Scores goals. Hopefully he'll assist for me as well. But a goal-scoring winger, that's what I like to see. £100,000 a week. It's a lot on a 5-year contract, but I do think he's the sort of player that levels us up a little bit, especially on that right side. We were looking in the summer. It never really happened again. I think for 16 million, even if he plays well for a year or so, and then we move him on, it's absolutely fine. Quite a big sign-on fee as well for this one. I think it's around 6 or 7 million. But yeah, in he comes. Jose Maria Guimel. JMG, we might end up calling him, because it's a challenge. And he's going to start this first game versus Manchester City. Jack Clark's injured at the moment as well, so he's definitely going to play. All right, then. In terms of registration, there are loads of spaces. We've still got a bit of an issue with the old English lot, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem, as Grimmel then is registered, signed and sealed, and will make his debut for us right here, right now. There's lots of other players I've been looking at. 20-year-old Dutch midfielder, Jules de Wit de Woo. I would call him the Owl if we signed him. I know what you're all thinking. Get him in, Ben. Please, come on, for heaven's sake. But it's another striker. We just don't need another striker. It'd be 30 million. It's just not logical. And with Manchester City coming up, I mean, I've picked the toughest game. The top of the table, our run of form has been terrible. So it's going to be really curious to see then how we fare against them. Maybe it's a time that we're struggling against these lesser sides, but a big boy comes along. Maybe we up our levels for that game. I flipping hope so. Mönchengladbach have accepted an offer from Borussia Dortmund. Or so Dortmund have made an offer, 37.5 million for Borisov at right back. He's a player I looked at in the January, or sorry, in the summer. It's now the January views, but they didn't really want to negotiate it. I guess now they're more willing to talk. I probably could negotiate it down. 186 million. I think I'll leave it for now though. And Eller, of course, you remember from Leverkusen, has got a cheeky little button in. 30 million is the asking price. We just don't need any more defenders right now. Some loan offers as well have come in for Mendy. So let's take here. Benfica have offered 60% of his wages, which is quite a lot. I would like it if they bought him, preferably. There's quite a few clubs interested, a few of which actually interested in a transfer. So I'm not going to loan him out for that reason alone. It's like Dragon's Den. I'm out. I'm just going to lower the asking price to 25, maybe 23, and just see if any of those clubs interested in a transfer, as Roma, Sunderland, I think were there as well, make a bid for him. Especially when you just bought a player for quite a lot of money. Already bids are flying in. Cardiff and Watford both interested. They've done non-negotiable 13. Okay, Watford haven't done a non-negotiable one, so there's a little bit of wiggle room here. They've gone to 14. I reckon we can get 18 out of Watford, and they'll agree with that. And I think that's probably going to be fine on every level. It is 18 million for Mendy. Make a slight profit on him, which was always the goal. We can now reject that offer from Cardiff, and yeah, that's not too bad. There's a little bit of a sell-on fee, like wage-wise, but that's fine. I mean, I'm paying his wages for a short period, but whatever. 5,000 a week for 2 years, I think it is, or a year and a half is fine. Okay, quite happy with that. 18 million for him. I was worried I'd have to go to sort of like the 7s and 8s, but to get 18 is really strong. Basically, this window, because it's been a weird year in that we've qualified out of the Europa group, not very convincingly. We've then continued forward and we've done okay in the league, but we've had a stuttery December. It's been really poor. And now I just want to get a little bit more clarity with the squad. I feel like the squad's in a pretty good place. I think we've got really good options in loads of places as United win 7-0 against Huddersfield. But we now need to figure out what our 11 is, and that's been the problem for me this year. You see this in real life all the time where managers don't really know their best 11. It's January, and I don't know my best 11. I don't know who my striker should be. I don't know, or I didn't know up until now, who I should be playing on the right, whether it's the Rod or Jack Clark. I now feel like we've got this new guy in who's going to be the guy for us, essentially, on that right-hand side. He's going to be sensational. And at the back, I've tried different combinations. I think Barons and Robson is a really nice option. I don't think we can overlook Obermeyer, though, and that's partially the issue. Very, very quick, strong, tall defender compared to some of these guys. Robson, 6'3", though, he's very strong as well. Marking maybe not quite as good, though. So there's plus points and negative points against all of these defenders. So it's a struggle to figure out which is our best two. And I think definitely having the two that I hear long term, like Ramon's a very good defender as well, really good defender, but the fact he's a loanee, I don't want to put too much on him and then not be able to build from that going into next season. So I'm sharing thoughts here, viewers. I'm glad we're only doing one match because I've done a lot of talking. I've had some transfer stuff as well, which I think's been fun. All right then, gang, welcome back. I say that like I say welcome back because I've spent the last 3 minutes figuring out what I'm going to do with this side. I'm going with this for this particular game. Like I say, Manchester City, home side for this one. Garrido will be in goal then. Alessi, Robson, Barons and Alkin at the back. Hopefully that becomes a settled back four or back five, but I'm still unsure of it. Vergara and Jonovic will be in the centre. Jonovic needs a rest, but I can't rest him in a game as big as this. Dybala will be behind Menace, who's going to be our striker for today's game. Chambers on the left, Grimel on the right. Lots rests on him. I mean, he's not really fit and sharp enough to play this. He'll probably come off at some point. We'll probably put Menace out on the right-hand side and maybe bring on Nissen towards the back end. But yeah, we've got to see how he does in this opening game. Gribble starts. It's the big news in this. I was going to say transfer deadline day. It's not a transfer deadline day. Talking absolute poppycock here, viewers. We've got to give him a number 15. There we go. That works for me on every level. All right then. They're playing a 4-4-1-1. Kylian Mbappe, their man up front. Laporte at the back. We've got Edison in goal. Tierney at right back. Still some familiar names in there. Tolisso on the bench, Phil Foden as well, Felix, John Stones. So I guess I say some familiar names. We've got Dybala though. I mean, surrounded by regens, Dybala's still here. And hopefully Dybala can be the man to do the job. Still a little injury to Goodmanson. He's not available for this one. And I'm sure it'll affect us. All right then, let's get out there. Let's do the business. It's Aston Villa versus Manchester City. All right, we're both wearing our traditional colours. That's nice. Good. You don't see that nearly enough anymore. There's part of me that thinks we're going to get cream crackered here. I've decided that Cockney rhyming slang for cream cracker is battered. It's not. I just want us to be competitive as they've got to throw in quite early on. Jonovic heads on. Vergara, it's a needless ball forward. I tell you, some of our keeping of possession in recent matches as well has been really poor. I wonder how many of our deficiencies will be highlighted in this particular game. Not scoring easy chances and losing the ball in really stupid situations has been a common theme of the last sort of 5 or so games. We won one of them as well, but it wasn't convincing against Sunderland in the Cup. So if the boys can pull their fingers out maybe and actually play well, that'd be fantastic. We might be getting to that point in that we've had a system that's been really dominant for a couple of seasons or played way above the expectations, and we're going to have to start tweaking a little bit more. We're going to have to change it radically, and that's something that is difficult to do mid-season because you've got an idea and a plan in place as we head it off the line. Mbappe's still there. And it's basically an empty net. Why is he on the post? Oh, let me see it. 3 dimensions. It's not ideal from us, is it? Ball played in. Zidane heads it towards goal. Alkin there. Our keeper completely sold. Now look where he is. Just hanging out at the post, just leaning against it. Right. Ow, that's my elbow. That's my funny bone. Not the coolest moment I've had in a video, viewers. I've bashed my elbow on the shelf. I was going to do like he was leaning on the post. Like, right, everyone, yeah, we going well? Yeah, good. We're 1-0 down. That's the long and short of it. I want to play cautiously, but I don't want to invite any form of pressure. But it feels like there's going to be pressure anyway. Oliveira goes for goal. Garrido makes the save. Because the good thing is, I feel like we are in this. We've not done massive amounts with the ball so far. We've not had a shot on target, but I don't feel like City are going to be as dominant. I think their system, their formation is giving me a little bit more hope. They're not quite as aggressive with it as sometimes they are. As they've got a throw-in deep in their own half. If we can try and pin them in a little bit, win it back and create a chance for ourselves. We've got some very creative players up there, but it's not happening as they bring it away. And now Vergara has been asked to do a defensive job that I'm starting to think this season he's not really capable of. And I think like we're in a January transfer window, so it gives me an option. I might sacrifice this player, Dybala here, and bring in a player that can play behind the midfield two of Ivanovic and Vergara, who I think are very, very good, very, very creative, but we're sort of restricting them a little bit because we're asking them to do defensive jobs. If we can bring someone in to be there, to boot that away, that'd be ideal. It's City 2 now, and this poor run of form is continuing. Especially in the league. I don't think we've won in 6 here. I feel like in a strange way this is quite therapeutic though. This is kind of what we need. I think we need a bit of radical change. I'm getting rid of some of the deadwood in this side, and as much as they've been useful throughout the previous years, and I feel a sort of a little bit of responsibility and there's a connection to those players, we've got to start making big changes. If we're going to level this team up from being a Europa League team or a decent Premier League finishing side to a Champions League team, we've got to start making big moves and make big decisions. That's why Mendy, Lemons, they've got to move on. It's a free kick. Dybala swings it in at pace. Goodness me, what a free kick it was. I think the keeper missed it, Ederson, and Barron's heads home. It's 2-1, and it's our first shot on target. If I was City here, I'd be fuming, but it's a wonderful free kick from Dybala. Does Ederson miss it? I assume he does. He sticks an arm out, doesn't get there. Barron's heads it in, and it's a sensational free kick. Outfoxes Ederson, so we'll take that. He's on a 6.3 as well, not playing that well. Menaces up front is on a 6.4. Our strikers recently, I don't even know what they're doing. I feel they're not even really a part of this. Dybala is having an average game. We've got Goodmanson on the bench. He's been tired recently. He's been in need of rest, and we're giving it to him. Maybe this wasn't the game for it, as they've got an injury as well, so that might play a factor in everything. I'm sure there's lots of you that will have thoughts on the way we're addressing the squad. Hopefully a lot of you agree with me. In fact, I'm curious to see, if you do agree with me, let me know if you think I'm right and maybe what I could add to that as well. If you don't agree with me, then again, comment section, get involved. Let me know what you think we should be doing. New formation time, that is what I'm edging towards now. Maybe playing a 2 up front. I've just bought a winger though, that's the problem. Unlucky boys, things haven't gone right for us so far. They like that. And I'm going to make some bold moves. I think as a debut, it's not gone brilliantly for him, so we're going to get off Grimwald. We're going to bring Goodmanson on and play him up on this right-hand side. We're going to make him an attacking playmaker. There's a temptation to play Dybala a little further forward as well. I'm actually just going to play it like that. It's almost like now we've got a close-knit 3 behind Menace up front, and we've still got Nissan on the bench, who I think I'm going to bring on now, actually. We've seen nothing from Menace in that first half to suggest he's going to score goals, whereas against Sunderland, Nissan played and scored. All right, 45 minutes to go. I'm keeping on this balanced approach. Again, maybe that's something we should be changing up, and that one might come with a new system actually. But at the moment, I quite like the idea of that we're balancing defence and attack in equal measure. Usually it's worked, and that's why we're sticking with it really. Loyalty to the system, as they're giving us all sorts of bother. It's hit the post. We've just about cleared it away. I think they're going to grow into this a bit more, so I'm going to knock it to cautious. I know what I've just said, but I think sitting back, having a defensive structure, and then breaking from that is probably going to be our way forward in this one. When City have the ball, they appear to have it for a longer period of time. If we can start to break maybe, Nissan's pace as well in behind, a danger, as they've got a chance perhaps. We clear it away. Now it's how we react to this. They've got 2 men over on that side, because we don't have Chambers, of course, playing more like a more defensive duty. We force them back to Ederson though, and shape-wise, we look okay. You can see how deep though Vergara sits, and then they just glide past him every time. He's not defensively capable enough for me, as we though do come away with the ball actually. Chambers with it, and he's got options all over the place, slides it through to Nissen, who goes for goal, and over the bar. City building from the back. This game's become interesting. I feel like there's lots of little bits of micromanagement we could be doing throughout this, and we'll just see what happens. We're 10 minutes into the second half. We've obviously got the goal back in that first half, and it's given us a little chance in this game, although City still look to me to be on top. It says overall we've had more possession, but I think in terms of meaningful possession, it's definitely them that have had it, as they've got a chance. It's hit the post. It's fallen so kindly to Mbappe, who might be offside. There's a goal review going on to whether he was offside, and he is offside. It's been given. The assistant's called it. Well, it must have come off the post. As the shot goes in, he must be off. I mean, no, I don't think he is, but thanks, game. I appreciate that. Blimey. That's like some of the ones we've seen in real life at the moment. As we're going to make another change. I'm going to get Chambers off, and Doku's going to come on. Going to make him stretch them a little more. Play attacking still out on that side. Alkin, I'm actually going to make a defensive wing back. I don't want him going any further forward, but I want him starting position to be slightly edged forward. I don't want him committing, though. I want him to be stationary there so he can defend when called upon. We've been cautious for quite a while now, and we seem to have stemmed the City tide a little bit. It's whether we twist this on its head a little bit and decide to go more positive. I'm going to make the move. We're 2-1 down, so we might as well. I'm going to try and focus most of our play through the middle now rather than out wide. Make us a little wider. Hopefully a little bit more space will develop. 15 minutes or so to go. Is there a goal in this for us? 10 minutes to go, whereas the highlights have been few and far between. We've seen very little occur. I guess we'll go more attacking to see if in this 10 minutes we can get a goal back. Question is, do I just start going more direct? I mean, it's an option, isn't it? We'll pause it there. I'm going to make Vergara slightly more attacking as well. Maybe make him a box-to-box rather than a playmaker. Those two are now playing quite similar roles, but it's about getting bodies in the box. I'm actually going to put Dybala up alongside Nissen. We're going to create a little bit of a... Basically, we're trying to overload on one side. That's the idea with this. I've done it plenty of times before, and it's worked quite successfully, so we'll see if it works today. God, the time is ticking away. It's ebbing away. And it doesn't look like anything's going to happen. There's a minute to go, and there's a highlight. I mean, we've seen nothing for a very long period of time. This could be the moment, as if we get an equaliser here, it'll be absolute scenes, viewers. Nissen on the ball. Can he find it forward? Dybala now. I worry this is the end of game highlight and not a highlight that ends in anything exciting. As we give it away, it might even end up as a City goal unless we break now. Mbappe, he's got a man over. If he slides it through, goes back out to the right-hand side. Luis Felipe puts it in, and it's a push. It's Alessi who's pushed, and it looks like it's going to be a City penalty. Alessi's going to get booked as well, I assume, for preventing a goal-scoring opportunity, and it's going to be a penalty to City later here. Oh, so frustrating. I feel like there was a games we won there. We weren't really creating enough. I thought like that was the biggest issue that we had. Only 3 shots on target, 10 overall, and City have been underwhelming, I feel like, but still clinical. In terms of average ratings, neither side have played like really, really well. Mbappe gets another goal, though. I think he's the top scorer in the league. And we fall to the league leaders, unsurprisingly, but still disappointingly. And there we are then. That brings us to the end. Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 1, as we call it a day here. Hopefully you've enjoyed the episode, though. A little bit of transfer stuff, lots of team-based discussion. So if you did enjoy it, do drop a like on the video, and we love it. Yeah, if you're going to until next time, I'll see you again very, very soon. Goodbye. And of course, if you want to check out the City series, link in the description. I mentioned it at the start, I'll mention it at the end. Here's a little preview of what you can expect. A situation. If you've never seen City Skylines before, this bit's going to be very enjoyable for you. Look at this. You can see all the residential areas building themselves out. We are losing money rapidly at the moment. We've got a lot of services with no one paying tax on those services. So currently, there's not much we can do. But as a starter offer, I think this is going reasonably well.